Good morning, YouTube. This is the first video that we are starting to record for the YouTube channel this morning. My name is Richard Nye, and we are having a very special week this week, actually. We are moving and building an old heritage carriage house that has been sitting in a field for a number of years, from the 1800s down the street to the heritage property, where it'll be placed on a new concrete foundation. So we are anxiously awaiting the arrival of the crew that are going to start lifting the building and blocking it and putting beams in to get it prepared to be moved. We were hoping for some drier weather, but I woke up this morning only to find that it was raining. So we are hopefully going to have enough dry weather for them to get on the ground without sinking. We'll see. This is the current site of the carriage house, soon to be moved. One of the challenges that we have with this move is this pond that's sitting right here, right close to the edge of the east side of the building, with some lying water. That it will prove to be an interesting circumstance when they go to try to lift it here. I wonder if they're going to try to pump out the pond. Where will they put the water? So the plan is to move the building to the west, lift it up and roll it into this area of the field here, and then get underneath the building from the east side so that they can get it down the street and then in position to put it in the right order, in the proper position on the foundation of the cement slab at the other end. I'm just thinking how wet it is here and how they may have to have some mats put down in order to move the building onto this area. It's pretty soggy. So hopefully it'll all go smooth. I'm pretty excited about this. It should be interesting to see how the process works. I've never seen a building lifted or moved before, and this one, it has some structural challenges that need to be addressed before they can do that. If you can see inside, we've got a couple of beams that aren't as good a shape as they could be. So when they go to lift the building, I suspect they're going to need to do some serious reinforcements. You can see how the building has sagged. It was placed on cinder blocks in order to get the building out of the water. But it dropped here, cinder blocks came out. And so this lower beam here is completely rotted away. It's going to be an interesting move. For sure. I am curious to see how this will happen. From my background in mechanics and tool and die and all the things I've learned over the years, this seems like a daunting project to me, but it is also a building that has great history. This building, according to the lady that lived across the street in this home, which is Pauline and Larry Durliette, she had stated that this building was moved from the Catholic Church in Stevensville on the corner of Netherby and Sodom Road out to here. And it apparently in the era that they had it at the church, horses and carriages and trailers would come in and they would attach their horses to these existing steel loops that are still here on the beams of the barn, particularly in the winter, to get out of the weather. The history of this building has great significance because it is a piece of historical artifact of the area. It was moved out here to this farm, I believe probably because it would have made a good storage shed, and it was an implement shed for Larry. And he had a grain drill stored in here along with wood and other supplies. And I think that allotted him the room to put things under a roof so that they wouldn't be in the weather constantly. And so the building, it appears, was longer than it is now. It looks like they cut off a section of the building and then moved it here with piece missing. And so they added this extra wall to the outside with this large, it's got a door here. And so they added this wall to the outside, but it looks like they cut it off. It may, I don't know how much longer it was, but it seems like it probably could have been another entire length between the two beams here. That could have constituted that. Anyway, the move should be interesting. I'm looking forward to watching them prepare. They're supposed to be arriving today. So far, it's been pretty quiet. So we'll see if they might be caught in traffic because they're coming from the Toronto area. Anyway, we'll keep you up to date. Keep you posted. Just starting the process of getting the large beams put in place. Actually, the weather has turned out to be very helpful. The wind has picked up, it's drying the field out a little bit. This is working out in our favor. For the wind today, if the phone or the picture is bouncing around a little bit, it's that gusty out here. Talking to one of the workers this morning, and they said that 95% of the time that's put into this is the prep work to get the building in a position that it can be moved. He said the rest will be about 10 minutes getting down the road and into the new location and then dismantling again.
interesting to see the building going down the road. They may have to lift the power lines a little bit just to get the building to go underneath it. They use a stick apparently, a long stick, and if they have to, they push the power lines up high enough to get over the peak of the building. Worst case scenario, you have to take the power lines down, which means getting a hold of the city and having electricians come and dismantle the line across it. But according to the company that's moving the building, they don't think that that's going to be necessary, but it's going to easily get underneath the lines. level the building first because the building is so crooked. They're going to lift it and level it before, and then get it straight as they can before they go to move it. Wind isn't helping matters. It's a little bit below the median. Sit on it while they go push the beam into wind isn't helping matters. It's a little bit below the median. push the beam into the roof.
All that shifted out here.
Oh, it's good.
Wow, yeah, it's right on the edge.
I'll have to, that's easy enough. I'll just take that ratchet strap off and take a check on it. Or drill it.